this impulse to be available to you all the time.
Hi, I'm Megan Darwish with TV Insider, and I'm here with the cast of Conversations with Friends. Alison, I'm going to start with you if you want to jump in, Joe, and answer the question as well. Conversations with Friends, Frances and Nick, who are they and what is their connection to one another?
Francis and Nick are I guess they meet through more so actually through their kind of significant others striking up a bond. So Frances is a 21-year-old college student who studies English in Trinity, and she has a best friend called Bobby, and Bobby meets Melissa, who's a writer in Dublin, at one of their spoken word poetry events, and they kind of form a connection, and through that Frances meets Nick, who is an actor in Dublin, and I guess from the get-go they're kind of drawn to each other in a way, because they're kind of from the get-go in this dynamic with their kind of partner, where they're the kind of more quieter of the two, and so I suppose they're used to being, I guess, that role in a kind of social context, and so when they're left with each other, they're kind of trying to, well, I think speaking for Frances, she's definitely trying to figure him out a little bit, and I think that intrigue and that interest and kind of blossoms, and they kind of further it, and then it becomes a different thing, and then it becomes something that's much kind of deeper than intrigue, and I guess they really heal each other and do love each other, and kind of that relationship opens them back up to the people that they began with.
I second all of that, but yeah, I suppose they are both two people who weirdly have quite a similar energy, and there's obviously opposites attract, but I do think they are actually quite similar in this case, and they are both, like Ali said, they are not defined, but they're very used to being next to someone who's a lot more kind of capable of being outspoken or being extroverted. So it's interesting to see what happens when that kind of safety blanket of having someone incredibly capable and familiar is removed. And there's something exciting about that, but also scary. And it's interesting to see how they navigate that together.
And I mean, it's no secret, I don't think, that there's a lot of relationships happening in this series. But is there any one main relationship, or are they just coexisting symbiotically, even if there's a little chaos going on? If you want to start with that question, Joe.
Yeah, there's a lot of chaos. It's kind of all messy and complicated. I think that's one of the reasons why people like it and why I liked it. And I think there's hopefully a happy acceptance of that complicated chaos, rather than things just being in black and white. And any movement of one relationship between those four, primarily, I suppose, kickstarted by Nick and Frances, has a heavy kind of ripple effect on the others. And so everyone is changed. Everyone is kind of interlinked, and it's kind of constantly flowing.
Sasha, I'm going to start with you, and Jemima, if you want to chime in and add to the answer. Who are Bobby and Melissa, and how do they become connected in this story?
I think they are the kind of, in a weird way, voices, like the outside voice, outside perspective of the relationships that Frances interacts in, and because it's kind of her perspective, and so we're there to kind of push things forward. And also, I guess we were talking about this earlier, I think Frances and Nick kind of speak in loops, and I think Melissa and Bobby are the ones to actually be like, hey, let's actually mention the elephant in the room here a little bit, kind of people. And their relationship together is just one of, they get along easy. They instantly feel like, okay, here's a connection. Whether or not it continues off or whatever, they just become friends. It's just easy, we're not sitting there asking each other questions. We're just hanging out.
Yeah, I think that Sasha explained it well, but we I think there are a lot of parallels drawn in this story, and Melissa and Bobby are, you know, the antithesis essentially of Frances and Nick, and I think they are seen by, at least by Frances and Nick, as obstacles to their relationship. And I think at some point in the story, both of us individually, Bobby and Melissa, sort of reject that role and step back, leaving Frances and Nick to on their own to figure it out.
Do you think that there is any one main relationship going on, whether that's Nick and Frances, or, you know, Bobby and Frances, or is it like kind of this symbiotic mix of multiple relationships happening at once? What is your perspective on the story at hand in terms of their connections with each other?
I think that the main relationship is Frances and Nick. It's a story that is told from the perspective of one person, and the most important person in this moment in their life is Nick.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the focal point.
Everyone check out Conversations with Friends, Sunday, May 15th on Hulu. And for more videos like this, subscribe to TV Insider.